Hello, Potato, and welcome to Weekend Magic for May the 27th, 2023. That is another month in the books. So not a lot of talky talk this week. They released some D23 pins. We ordered some of those pins, so we'll do a video on those in 5 or 6 months when they actually show up. But even without a lot of things to talk about at the front, I think it's still going to be a fairly long video. And I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty tired. You could say I feel the weight of the decades upon me, the Disney decades to be exact, because the Disney Decades 1950s collection is now here in the void space. And if you watched last week's video, you'll know that I ordered most of it, pretty much everything except for the plush, because we're skipping the plush this time. No plush, at least. It'd have to be really, really impressive. And the Shaggy dog, while impressive that you just had merchandise for that, was not impressive enough to make me break my no plush vow for this collection. Now, of course, the Magic Band, which is a pre-order, did not show up yet, so we don't have that, but we do have everything else. And so we'll start with the smallest thing, as we usually do, and head on down there to look at it. So we will start out, as we tend to do with matters such as these, with the pin. Here is our 50s Disney Decades pin. As the first three have been, it looks nothing like anything else in the collection. Ultimately, taking off the cards, we are going to end up with a board of completely disjointed looking pins. So aside from being a fair amount of stuff to look through this week, I think it's also going to be a fair amount of stuff to read, because unlike Mickey Mouse the Main Attraction, or Minnie Mouse the Main Attraction, or even the Disney Wisdom, did that have words on it? I don't remember. I don't think I did videos on those anyways. So we did Minnie Mouse, we did Mickey Mouse, I think that was it. Anyways, as with those, there's words on the packaging, but the words now, instead of being the same words for every item in the collection, are different for every item in the collection, because each item has nothing to do with the other than the decade it was released in. So we're starting out with our Goofy pin. I don't know what this is even from. I am sure I've seen this cartoon, but what is this actually from? It's Humphrey the Bear. Well, I guess before we look at the pin, let's read the words. And then we will know, instead of me just pre-reading it and then having to read it all again later, like in a minute. So let's just read it now. Humphrey the Bear. Humphrey the Bear is a genial and gluttonous grizzly bear living in Brownstone National Park. He first appeared in the Disney short Hold That Pose on November 3rd, 1950 as an unnamed character, but rose to popularity thanks to silly food-stealing antics. Humphrey's charmingly hapless nature went on to land him a role in the shorts Hooked Bear and In the Bag, both of which debuted in 1956. He'll forever be remembered as the comical bear with an appetite for hijinks. So yeah, I was going to say Silly Symphonies, but I guess not. When did Silly Symphonies end? Did that run into the 50s? Was that just like a 30s and 40s thing? I don't remember. I mean, I wasn't around, but I grew up watching, renting those tapes from like the Disney Classics Vault things from the video store and watching those. So I remember seeing a lot of those shorts, including ones that I think they wouldn't release now, like some of the World War II propaganda shorts. I think would just not be available now. Maybe they're on Disney Plus. I don't know. I haven't looked. Anyways, here is our pin of Humphrey the Bear with Goofy at the camera, and as you probably have noticed already, it is like an Instamatic camera kind of a thing with a picture of Humphrey that pops out of them. I guess you're not supposed to look at it like that. You're supposed to see his top of his head cut off. So like that. That just looks weird. Look at, I can't tell if it's supposed to be if his head is missing or just squished. But yeah, the picture comes out. But I also think on the, you can flip it over. So yeah, it's not another picture on there. You can flip it over and there is, see, they give you Humphrey, like the full Humphrey there, but on here, now I guess his eyes are there, it's just his head is squished. I haven't seen this cartoon probably in 30 years. Is it just like to do with how the picture was taken? I'll have to go watch this cartoon on Disney Plus. I'm sure it's on there. And of course, I will have edited and released this before I do that. So it won't be in this video, but it'll just be for my own personal satisfaction. I do like, as a nice little detail here, how Humphrey's face is reversed in the picture, which is probably the way it should be, because we're seeing a mirror image of him here, and we're seeing what he actually would have looked like there. So that's pretty cool. Also a nice rendering of Goofy. Got the birdie, I think it's the whole look at the birdie thing. The flash. It's a fairly basic pin. There's no pin on pin here, but we do have the little, not just piece that like goes up into it, but also flips around to give you two possible pictures. Although, to be fair, this picture does not match the reflection in the lens. It's double pin back. It is limited release, which is not the same as limited edition. And yeah, it's a nice pin. It's one that I might have bought anyways, even if it wasn't part of the Decades collection, because it's kind of a cool pin. But again, like everything else in this collection so far, it looks nothing like anything else in this collection so far. It's just, these are just random looking pins on the board without their cards. They just look totally random. They're nice pins, there's no sense of cohesiveness between them. Moving on to bigger, not necessarily better, but also not necessarily worse, but definitely different, we're going to take a look at next, the ears. Now these I'm actually pretty interested in. I thought they were a really neat design. Let's see if we can get them so we can actually look at the design. Here we go. These are really designed, and kind of like with the Shaggy dog, they are interesting in that they're from a thing that doesn't get a lot of merchandise. Indeed, even the rides for it are, I think, long gone in all the parks now. That's interesting. I'll get that in a second. And that, of course, is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Now, I think looking at these are actually really neat looking ears. They're very kind of steampunky. We have the Nemo? Oh, wow, I've forgotten the name of the ship. I think it was the Nemo. Under there, we have the Kraken over here. Got some squid tentacles here on the back. The back is feels almost like a Nerf kind of material. It doesn't feel like the faux leather. It feels like foam. Of course, the brassy ring stuff is plastic. It's not metal. But the neat thing is we do have like the portholes over the fronts of the ears. And this looks like it may actually open. The little hinge here does actually turn. Does that open? It does open. Well, that's neat. I mean, it's pointless. You just let you feel the foam on this side, but the little latch there actually does work. I don't know why they bothered with that, but it certainly is. It's a neat feature, because I mean, you could just as easily have had that sealed. We do have, of course, the little just like afterthought metal tag put on here, which again, I still feel like these ears all would have been released, just not part of the Decades collection. That's why I feel these little metal tabs would just kind of look like add-ons. Neither, I don't think we have any ears like this that have like a rubbery cone. It's not. I thought it was like hard plastic looking at it. It's actually like a very like a grippy, very like slip-resistant feeling rubber here. That should just like kind of bite in your hair. I guess maybe because the ears are a little heavier than a lot of ears tend to be. But this is actually quite nice. It doesn't say 20,000 Leagues on it anywhere, does it? That's weird. We do, of course, also have, instead of the big CVS receipt tag, we have the little booklet tag. That's nice. Series 4 of 10. And then, of course, we have words. Let's read the words. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea splashed onto screens in 1954, taking audiences on a wondrous underwater adventure. Based on the book by Jules Verne, the big-budget film was a cinematic feat for Walt Disney. He used the newly developed CinemaScope process to bring this live-action epic to life. He also had an enormous water tank constructed for the high-stakes squid battle. Limited release, Series 4 of 10. So, yeah, it's interesting to see a 20,000 Leagues item, especially given that the 20,000 Leagues ride is, long gone. But they're nice. I think these are probably the best ears in the series so far. I mean, I know we're only not quite halfway through it, but I do think our 20,000 Leagues ears here are the best yet. Even bigger still, and knowing that we didn't buy the plush, the next item can only possibly be the backpack, the Cinderella Backpack. Now, I was a little surprised my wife wanted this one because normally she doesn't care for the backpacks that don't have the front compartment on them. Normally she likes the ones that have that extra storage, even if it's a pack that she's probably never going to use. But this being Cinderella, it did warrant an exception because it's Cinderella. So yeah, instead of having that front pouch here, what we have is a flat surface so you can have a more detailed picture. And of course, you may have noticed already that picture is lenticular. If the camera can... I don't think the camera's picking it up quite as clear as I would like it to, but I think you can see here she is at least mostly in her ball gown. And then here she's mostly still in her tattered dress. The tattered dress doesn't quite all the way go away, does it? Even looking at it with my eyes, I can still see that pink dress and the other hairdo under there. Which, of course, the pink dress I think really shows through nicely normally. But yeah, you have Fairy Godmother, you have Gus and the other mice. I don't remember their names right now. And you have the dog and you have the horse, which will eventually become a beautiful stallion to pull the carriage. And of course the pumpkin, that will become the carriage. Basically, it's the beginning of the whole... So he becomes like the footman, right? Or the driver? They become... Or do they become the footman? I haven't seen Cinderella in years. See, what's the inside look like? They usually have really nice linings on them. What does the lining here look like? Oh wow, there's so much paper in there. And yeah, I don't think you can... I don't want to bend it too much because I don't want to damage the picture, but yeah, you can see there's some mice, there's some pumpkins. Looks like all the mice are in there. Normally we could look at that smaller pocket and see it all, but this is going to have to do. I don't want to pull all that paper out because I don't think this is going to get used, and I don't want to put it all back in, and also don't want to crease it too much because I don't want to damage the lenticular picture on the front here. So on the back here, do we have... Oh, there we go. There's the Disney 100 logo. Decades. Knew it had to be on here somewhere. And of course it is a Disney Lounge Fly Bag. So there should be more words here, right? We should have Cinderella words. Let's read the Cinderella words before we move on. Cinderella. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Cinderella was released on February 15th, 1950 and is a dazzling tale of an overworked stepdaughter turned shining princess. With help from animal friends and a magical fairy godmother, Cinderella's dream of going to the ball comes true. There, she encounters the town's prince and wins his heart. And with the help of a discarded glass slipper, the duo later reconnects their romance. The success of Cinderella at the box office ensured that animated films continued at the Walt Disney Studios for years to come. Limited release, Series 4 of 10. So I think it's a very impressive bag. It's also one of the better ones I think so far in this collection. I think we only got the first one in this one. I think we skipped 2 and 3 both because I think Pinocchio just wasn't that impressive, and I don't even remember what the other one was. But I don't think we got it. I could be wrong. No, I think last time we just got the pin because that collection was kind of eh. Although I guess we eventually got the toy, and that was too. Speaking of the toy, that is, of course, the largest part of this collection. and also the one that has the most potential to be disappointing. Let's face it, Steamboat Willie and Mr. Toad and the Headless Horseman were not just massive, wonderful items. Even if they were sort of their time, I think a lot more plastic on those tin toys than you would have found on tin toys from either the 20s or the 40s. But we're moving ahead to the 50s now with Peter Pan and the Peter Pan playset, which comes with Peter, Captain Hook, Mr. Smee, 5 generic not painted pirates, 1 pirate ship, and a paper skull rock. So if this is not like the best thing ever, I am probably done with the toys, unless the next one is the best thing ever. Just because they've been pretty uniformly disappointing. But this is we're new here. We're not doing a tin toy this time. We're doing a plastic toy, and well, let's see what it says on here that maybe explains why they've done what they've done here. The film Peter Pan is based on the play by James M. Barrie. It premiered on February 5th, 1953, and followed the exploits of a flying boy who never wanted to grow up and the 3 darling children. With memorable characters like Tinkerbell, the Lost Boys, and the villainous Captain Hook, the film enthralled audiences, taking us to Neverland. All that's left is to follow the second star to the right and straight on till morning. In celebration of Walt Disney Company's rich history, this Peter Pan toy figurine set invites you to embark on a journey where you never have to grow up. Inspired by toys made during the time of the film's premiere, this vintage-styled piece invites you to believe in magic and pixie dust. Head to Neverland as you recreate timeless fun. So, now remember with Steamboat Willie, the figures that came with didn't actually fit on the boat, plus the deck of the boat was not flat enough to make them stand there well anyways. And also, do note here that the box is not in mint condition, did not arrive. Particularly, which is weird because everything else in the box was fine. But yeah, this is, I think because these have so much empty space in them and they're not packaged well, there's no foam, there's an insufficient amount of cardboard to keep it in place. And so far they've all just been held in with cable ties, which has been truly annoying. Yeah, these have just not been great so far, but maybe this is where it turns around. Maybe this is the one, maybe the 50s are where things get better. Since these do take a minute to open up, I'm gonna jump ahead to when that's already done. Unless, of course, I find something very, very interesting in here before that. Okay, so positivity first. It was not held in by cable ties, it was actually held in by elastics. I was able to take it out without having to cut things out of it. So it'll go back into the box quite nicely. I did have to cut some tape on the bag that was holding our pirates in it, but the bag itself is still attached to the box and I can put it all back together fairly easily. So again, positives. Also positive, the boat doesn't look half bad. The sculpts on the pirates are actually quite nice and detailed. These are I think a lot nicer than you would have had on a toy in the 1950s. They still aren't, they're still single colors, which I think is about right. The plastic's a little more rubbery, I think, than you'd find back then, too. I would expect them to feel more like, the little green army men than they do, but the sculpts are actually really quite detailed, which does make me question why they chose to not paint them, other than I think that is appropriate for the time period. So these are already better than, the sculpts in the Steamboat Willie one were pretty nice, too. Also interesting, these are not single, solid pieces like, again, I would have expected them to be. I would have expected them to be solid pieces like the little green army men. They are actually, this guy looks like he's 2 or 3 pieces. It looks like there's a joint at his waist and there's a joint at his arm. So he's actually 3 different pieces, which is surprising. Same looks like there's a joint at the arm and maybe the head, maybe the waist. I can't tell on the waist on him. He looks not the head. The head's got a joint on it. The neck there. I don't know why I can't hold on to them. They're not slippery or anything. His arms definitely joined. Both arms are joined. And on him, again, the waist looks like it has a join. The head. So yeah, they're all the little non-painted guys, at least, are actually assembled from multiple pieces, which is really cool. It's something I wouldn't expect from a toy from the 50s. I'm not sure how much I would expect them to be plastic like this either, but... Now, painted... Oh, Peter's face is not... Peter's face is kind of scary, actually. But otherwise, I mean, it's painted pretty nicely. I am not sure if the face isn't, like, half his eyebrow is... I guess it's under his hair. But Peter's kind of scary looking. I don't know what you think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Does Peter's face look scary? Captain Hook. These guys kind of want to stand up the least of all of them. They're, I think because they're so thin, the center of gravity on them is too high. Captain Hook. Again, the face is a little off. Maybe that's why they didn't paint these, because it kind of draws away from the face a bit. But otherwise, it looks like it's pretty well painted. I don't know if that's paint bleed or if that's just supposed to be where his sleeve ends. I think it's just where his sleeve ends. Not bad. Then we have Mr. Smee in the rowboat. Which, looks a little cross-eyed, maybe? He wasn't cross-eyed in the movie, was he? But nicely done. And kind of cool, the boat actually is on wheels. Huh? The boat does feel like it's made of maybe a cheaper plastic than the figurines, which is weird. You'd figure that'd be where you'd put the effort in, but it looks okay. I mean, again, if something's would look decent up on a shelf, but like with the pins, it's going to be a little disjointed next to the faux tin toys from the 20s and 40s. And okay, of course, then the worst part, and this isn't a surprise, it said it on the page, is Skull Rock here is just made of cardboard, which, I mean, again, that's authentic for the time period. They were pulling this junk into the 80s. So, I mean, that it's cardboard is not, while it's not impressive, it's also not terribly surprising for the era it's meant to be from. I do think this is a better toy than the Steamboat Willie or the Horseman and Mr. Toad. I still say it's not worth $50 though. I don't feel this is like a $50 value. I feel, again, 30 to 40. I feel like you could find this in World of Disney or Big Top Toys in DCA or in one of the toy shops in Fantasyland for 30, 35, maybe even 40. But I feel like 50 is pushing it. I feel like we're paying 50 because it says Disney Decades on the box. And I mean, well, I do feel better about it than the previous toys. And maybe that's just because I had such low expectations. I still don't feel it's worth $50, and I think unless the toy is something really impressive, like a nice action figure or something next time, which would be the 60s, so probably not. I feel like we're probably gonna get like another playset sort of thing like this. Unless the next thing is really impressive, I think I'm done with the toys. I'm not in for the toys automatically anymore. The toys are going to have to be on a case-by-case, like everything but the pin is. So far, the pins have been pretty steadily good. Again, they don't match each other, but they are all good qualities for what they are. Everything else has been fairly hit or miss. But this month, this collection, this decade, is certainly a lot more hit than miss, which is more than we can say for the previous three. But that's enough about what I think. I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Do you think this is worth $50? Would you buy this or have bought this? Did you buy it? What is your favorite piece in the collection here? The pin, the ears, the boat, or the backpack? Honestly, I think it's the ears. I think the ears are very interesting and unique. I like that they've made the porthole over the Nemo open for whatever reason. I like the steampunky look of it. Pin's probably second, backpack third, pirate ship last, but nothing here is terribly disappointing. But that does wrap us up for another weekend. Let me know what you think is the best and worst of this collection, or did you think that the plush dog was better and you bought that? Let me know. And also, again, let me know what you think about these toys. Have I been a sucker for spending money on these things so far? And should I stop? I feel like I'm going to, unless they're really impressive. I feel like the toys, they're a thing that I specifically wanted, and I've been disappointed by them middlingly so far. But in any case, I do thank you for watching. I hope you found this all interesting or entertaining. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.